Welcome to YouTube Wild Boys. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We are starting where is the driest place on Earth? Most of us will mentally go somewhere in the Sahara, or some other desert, to find the answer. I'll allow you. You can't guess. Believe it or not, the driest place on Earth is Antarctica. Firstly, according to the technical definition, a desert is an area where the annual precipitation in the form of rain does not exceed 254 millimeters. The amount of annual precipitation in the Sahara totals 25 millimeters, although the average annual precipitation in Antarctica is almost the same. 2% of its territory, called dry fields, is not only free of ice, but there has been no rain or snow at all in the last 2 million years. Secondly, a dry place is also determined by the humidity in the air. If you think the next dry place in the world is the Sahara, you are still wrong. This is the Atacama Desert in Chile. There, in some places, it hasn't rained in 400 years, and the average annual rainfall is only 0.1 millimeters. This makes it the world's driest desert, 250 times drier than the Sahara. There is almost no moisture in the air over Antarctica because it instantly freezes and falls on the continent, while over the deserts there is a very small amount of moisture, but it is still sometimes fixed. Along with being the driest place on Earth, Antarctica can also lay claim to the title of the iciest and windiest place. In the form of ice, this continent stores 70% of the world's fresh water. The wind speed is the highest ever recorded on Earth, 327 kilometers per hour. Station Dumont d'Urville, 1972. The wind of exactly the same speed was recorded only once on April 12, 1934 on Mount Washington, New Hampshire, USA. The unique conditions of dry fields are caused by the so-called with katabatic winds, comes from the Greek word and means downward. Such winds are formed when cold, dense air is pulled downward by the force of gravity. Although Antarctica is, in principle, a desert, these completely dry places are ironically called oases. They are so similar to the conditions on Mars that NASA used them to test the Viking mission. Another factor that has contributed to the advance of the desert in this part is the phone effect, a climatic phenomenon that causes clouds to release precipitation on mountain slopes, in this case the slopes of the Andes Mountains, so that when they exceed them, they will not have water, which is why the desert is formed. On the other hand, to the north of the Andes Mountains is the Altiplano, which is a high and wide volcanic plain. While in the south it cuts off moisture from the Pacific Ocean, in the north it prevents storms from the Amazon region in Chile. Despite the harsh weather conditions, people have used it to some extent since the beginning of American colonization. 12,000 years ago, a colony worked in an iron oxide mine at Taltal in the Antofagasta region. Years later, in BC, around 5000 AD, the Chinchorros began mummifying their dead. The Inca civilization also developed here. When you want to look at the stars, you need to go to the place farthest from the urban center, otherwise you won't see much light pollution. True, there are telescopes with which you can still see many objects and cities, but it is always better to stay away from artificial light. This problem does not exist in the Atacama Desert. Not only is there light pollution, but the low cloud cover and altitude make the image seen through the telescope's optical tube very sharp. For this reason, more than a dozen observatories like ALMA, which is the world's largest astronomical project, are located here. Although it is hard to believe, there are many species of plants that have managed to adapt, such as the following. Copiapoa. This is a genus of cacti that is globe-shaped 10 to 15 centimeters in size, protected by black spines and produces beautiful yellow flowers. Depending on the species, it can produce suckers. Senecio myriophyllus. This is a shrub that can measure 50 centimeters with yellow flowers, similar to chamomile, with a diameter of 2 centimeters. Ricinus communis. It is a shrub with palmate leaves of green or reddish color, depending on the variety, which reaches a height of 2 to 3 m. There are several animals that have evolved in the Atacama Desert, such as the following. Pelicanus. A pelican is a water bird with a long beak that feeds on fish. Vicunas vicunas. The vicuna is an Andean camel. After it grows up, it weighs up to 55 kilograms and feeds on grass. Philodria chamisoni, the long-tailed snake, is a snake up to 140 centimeters long. Feeds on small rodents and insects. It seems incredible that in such a dry place it could be the scene of one of nature's most beautiful spectacles. When it rains, no matter how much, the plants grow rapidly and produce so many flowers that they cover the desert with life. Here, scientists discovered an ancient shaman's bag containing many psychotropic drugs, including cocaine. However, in this incredibly dry place, it's not just the climate that's bad. The ancient inhabitants of this inhospitable place traded anything they could get their hands on. It seems that sometimes these were the glittering feathers of colorful birds brought from afar, because they did not inhabit this desert. I hope you liked it, and I hope you will wait for the next videos. And I hope you will not forget to like.